Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Flynn, and I'm here with
Scott Lang.
And we are the Band Dads. Here to bring you a podcast about something that we care very dearly about, which is music education and band.
Some of you are here because you want to learn about all things band. Some of you are here because you want to see a train wreck, and the answer is yes to both of those. We don't care why you're here. We're going to answer all the questions. We're going to say the things you're thinking. We're going to debunk all the myths.
Yep. This is the Band Dads Podcast.
The podcast by and for confused band parents.
Nice. You said the tagline. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Band Camp. We hope everyone is well rested and hydrated. You all ate breakfast this morning, right? Right? Good news, we will take a break from the sun today and stay inside for today's session. The theme for today's episode focuses on the students of Band Camp. Let's start with a conversation with the students themselves. I had a chance to sit down with a group of students who have been members of the marching band for 3 or 4 years each at this point and have now earned roles within the leadership team. The leadership team is comprised of section leaders for each type of instrument in the band, as well as some additional tasks such as the prop crew. Each band program will have some sort of process to follow to be considered for leadership, such as teacher referrals and interviews with the band directors. One of my main goals during these recordings was to not interrupt instruction ever, so this group was kind enough to come in early to speak with me. Let's go ahead and chat with euphonium section leader Bailey, sousaphone section leader Ava, battery section leader Hazel, and saxophone section leader Jolie. Part of the segment, we're going to sit down with a few leaders from the Basher Bear Regiment leadership team who agreed to chat with me today about band camp. And I would just want to know from them, and parents, I want you to hear from the kids, again, kind of what their experience is. And now, again, this is the leadership team, right? So this is kind of the top tier. This is the best of the best right here, right? So they're gonna give you their perspective on what band camp is. So that said, it may be their first time as leaders as well, so they might share some insight from kind of both sides of it. So, leadership team, if you could, for me, describe what band camp means to you, let's say 5 words or less. Give me what you think. What does band camp mean to you?
5 words or less?
5 words or less. Or as close to it as you can. If you use 6, it's fine.
Band camp to me means bonding.
Bonding is good. Okay.
Yeah.
1 word. Look at that. You didn't even need 5. You did it in 1.
It's kind of like the place where everyone gets to know each other the most because we're around each other so much throughout the day.
Sure.
And we all bond through band camp and get closer together through that.
Do you think that the experience that you gained through band camp, especially with bonding with your peers in your section and whatnot, do you think there's any other way to replicate that? Or is band camp just that unique? It's like the only way to get it done the way you guys do it.
You could maybe replicate it through rehearsals and stuff, but it's just not as good because, again, you spend the whole day at band camp versus
Right.
rehearsal is only 4 hours. But
Right.
4 and 10 hours together is pretty different. You eat lunch with your sections, eat dinner with your sections.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yep.
some people would go out with their sections after band camp even.
Yeah, that sounds hard to replicate for sure. The amount of time you guys spend together. Okay. 5 words or less.
On top of what Bailey said, I would say like grit and determination.
Grit and determination. Okay. Why is that?
It's a hard week. You go through a lot and you do a lot and you're outside and it's hot and you're tired and your feet hurt. And most of the time it's kind of like a test because obviously the season isn't as hard as that.
Okay.
But it kind of shows how hard you will be willing to work even in those conditions.
Okay.
And how that can kind of also show your progress.
So you're establishing your work ethic.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And did I hear you just say that what you do in band camp is harder than what you do during the season?
Yeah, I would say
So it gets easier from here.
Yeah, but it gets busier at the
Okay.
same time.
Okay.
But yeah, it does get easier.
That's fair. Okay. How about Hazel? Hazel, who's our one of our percussion leaders.
Oh, I think I have like 2 words again.
Okay.
It's like mine would be perseverance and productivity,
Okay.
because you're persevering through like what Ava said, like all the heat and the lot of work and the long days, but a lot of productivity comes with that because you're, especially for drums, we're working and shedding on our music notes as well as spending even extra time on drill, and
Sure.
it's hot outside, but we're getting a lot done.
Yeah, and poor percussion, right? Because you guys are so loud, you really don't come inside, do you?
No,
Well,
we
not
don't.
often anyway.
Yeah,
I think this year was a little better for you guys, but
a little bit
it's definitely
better.
rough out there.
I'd say fun, challenging, but compelling in a way, like compelling us to like meet new people and like share new experiences. So also sharing. Is that 4 words?
That's fine. That's fine.
fine?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, that's good. So you actually said fun, which I don't know if anybody said fun yet. So I appreciate that you actually
what the
said fun.
heck?
So it's not all scary hard work. There is
Yeah.
fun involved as well.
I think so.
You guys are the leadership team. Is this your first time in leadership this year?
Mine.
No?
It's mine.
Okay. So for those that are the first time in leadership, I guess, Julie, since you're holding the microphone, how has your approach to band camp been different this year since you are one of the leaders this year?
I'd say it's just been different leading wise. I've always kind of taught the berries since I play berry sax, kind of just like teaching them too, but getting to teach and like talk in front of a whole woodwind section, that's been a lot different, and being able to like collaborate with our techs and stuff has been nice, and collaborate with the rest of the leadership team has been really nice and definitely different than before.
So you don't regret your choice of moving into leadership?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, good. All right, good. And then Ava, since this is just your first year as well, what would you say? How's it different for you?
I would say two things. One is I feel like it's more immersive. Like I'm more into it, and I had a lot more fun. I think this band camp, but that could also be with schedule changes and stuff. But I had a lot more fun this year. And I'd also say, like, perspective-wise, it kind of changed it because I didn't know how much like the band directors and other people do for the band.
Fair enough.
Before.
Yes.
Now. It's easier and harder at the same time because I have more fun, but I have a lot more responsibilities. Not like only leading, but with things behind the band and getting things prepared as well.
Sure. No, that's a good point. Like maybe parents don't know that the leadership team is still here an hour after band camp's over for the day because you guys are vacuuming rooms clean from your sections, making a mess everywhere.
Yeah,
things
definitely.
like that. Okay, fair enough. So for Bailey, Hazel, if you guys have both been in leadership previously, how do you feel this year maybe has been different from years prior?
So this year for me especially has been different because in the past 2 years I've been the prop crew leader.
Okay.
So props don't really start until after band camp. So this year I'm the euphonium section leader, and that started when the euphoniums came in.
Gotcha.
So I feel like I had a lot more stuff to do this year for band camp, and I had a lot more responsibilities in a good and bad way. I mean, it's fun, but also, again, like being there an hour early, being there at 7 a.m., and then staying until 7 p.m. for helping clean up and stuff is a lot. But again, like I like what I do, and I like how I see the effect it pays off in like the next day. Like we'll be doing work from 6 to 7, and then the next day I'll see it pay off in a way.
Sure.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that's rewarding, yeah. I think that's awesome for you guys to be able to see that and really get a big picture because, again, I can only imagine that you guys have probably worked with a lot of these kids three of you are seniors, right? So you've worked with a lot of these kids maybe 3 years, and they've probably given you plenty of reasons to not want to deal with them or lead them, but you still see the big picture and hang in there and do that, so I can appreciate that for sure. What about you, Hazel? How has this year been different for you compared to years prior?
So in past years, I've just been the base captain, so not technically as much of a leader as this year compared to me being battery captain.
Okay, fair enough.
So like in the past where it would be I'm just dealing with a smaller amount of just my baseline, I get to interact with a lot more of the students in a more effective way.
Okay.
And it's really neat to see how other people are kind of taking after me and Jaxon, who's the other battery captain, and seeing how we can kind of get people excited for things. It's been a lot different actually being able to interact and like put new like habits into people and new ideas and kind of like honestly like making the culture fun. It's been that's what's been the biggest thing for being a leader this year compared to past years. It's just been a lot more like culture, and we're just doing a lot more together.
Let me ask you this. So you're all very experienced, and you can give me answers one at a time. If you had to give advice to someone who's kind of new to the activity, maybe they're on the fence thinking about marching band, what advice would you give somebody who's newer on the fence or thinking about joining marching band? What would you say to them about this activity?
For me, I would just tell them how my freshman year I almost quit. I didn't go to the rookie camp. That was a thing my freshman year. We had a rookie camp, and I didn't go to it. And I got messaged by the drum major Cameron Bautista and Denny, and my brother also was the euphonium section leader that year too. And he told me that I have to go and that it's going to change my like high school experience. It's going to change who I am in a good way. And so I decided to go. And I really do not regret coming back at all. I think it really has changed me in so many good ways. I feel like it's made me more mature, a better person, and yeah, it's just a really fun environment and everything. And I think that anyone who has an opportunity to should definitely join.
Okay.
I really agree with what Bailey said, and you learn so many lessons and you meet so many new people and personalities that it's like I don't know, eye-opening, and it gives you something to do so you're not bored all the time.
Okay. Which is good because, again, one of the things we talk about on this podcast is sometimes when kids are bored, it leads to bad decisions.
Yes.
Right? And you guys don't have that free time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely. And also the opportunities you can get from marching band, like here, but also outside of like high school, like colleges and whatnot. It's, I don't know, I think it's really rewarding, especially watching clips of like a competition and you just think you guys sound awesome and you look awesome, and that's really nice.
Just advice. What advice would you give anybody thinking about marching band on the fence?
I'd say for me that it definitely like changed my life in a big way,
Okay.
because I think of all the good and positive experiences I've had doing this and all the friends I've made. Going into high school and as a senior, I look back and I think about all the good memories I've made and my friends again, and then I'm like, none of that would have happened without band, and none of the good memories I've made would have been without band. I like sit in my classes and I'm like, I don't know any of these people, but then when we go in the band room for lunch for most of the time, like most people do, like I know everyone in there.
Right.
And it just is such a big community, and it just creates so much good experiences, and it also teaches discipline too. That's like a big thing.
Okay.
I feel like in the Bashabear Regiment is our discipline and our mindset and drive to actually do things, and I think it's such a big precedent for the future.
That's awesome.
So my advice, I think, would be to not be scared to open up to other people, and also because there is a big sense of community, and I feel like some people do get hung up in the fact that they're in one section. So my advice would be to spread out to other sections for friends.
Okay.
Because like the others are saying, like they've made so many friends in this activity, and part of that wouldn't have happened had they not gone talk to the trumpets or to the clarinets. Like I think really one thing, because specifically me, I was so scared to talk to other sections my freshman year that I was stuck with only having battery friends, and then I saw these other people like they're friends with the whole band. I really want to do that.
Gotcha.
And so definitely would suggest reaching out to other people that aren't just your section.
There you go. And then through band camp, you're going through a shared trauma. So you have a relationship just even based on that, if nothing else. Mm-hmm. I appreciate what some of you guys said again, because I feel like, and actually let me ask you this, and do you all feel like, so you've kind of mentioned some different traits that you see in yourselves. Do you see yourselves maybe even compared to some of your peers who are not in band, and how maybe you have some traits that others do not, maybe even though you are of similar age and experience, but do you feel like maybe band has even put you ahead a little bit in that regard, if that makes any sense?
I feel like compared to like some of my peers in my class, I think I have a lot more like respect for other people and different types of people. Yeah. Because I'll see like people in my classes, like they'll literally stick to the same exact type of people year after year, class after class. And like being in band, like there's so many different people that are in this activity. And it's like, I don't really see myself like avoiding someone who likes this or someone that likes that or dresses a different way. Like I'll genuinely reach out to all sorts of different people. And I think that definitely is something I've noticed throughout the years of being in band, and what sets like us apart from maybe just normal peers in our classes.
Okay, that's fair. Anybody else?
I would say stepping out of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jolie.
No, that's good. If you have similar thoughts, that's good.
And doing things that maybe some people would be too afraid or would let their fears hold them back. Like, even with things like auditions or playing tests or trying out for a lead or whatever.
Sure.
Like, you're already actively going out of your comfort zone, and I think doing it more often, especially because that's something you just do in band. Yeah. It gets you more comfortable and more willing, I think, in the same thing, like open-minded and giving new things a try.
So you're saying the culture within band helps promote those things.
Yes.
Which I know I've reiterated on episodes in the past, because I've talked about my experience with you, and the first time I saw you on a marching band field coming into school, again, playing woodwinds, playing saxophone and clarinet, and then seeing you on a field carrying an instrument the size of you freshman year was pretty shocking for me. I didn't know you had it in you. So I talk about all the time about
Thank you.
Yeah, I talk about it a lot. Like, wow, I didn't know she could do that. So there you go. Anybody else have any thoughts on that question?
I think to go off of what both Ava and Hazel said, just getting out of your comfort zone and meeting all those new types of people, it makes you more comfortable in who you are.
Sure.
So you can meet other people. I think also band definitely builds a stamina that I didn't know I had, especially because I don't think I would go to take a run anywhere else.
Fair enough.
Like, I'm not doing that.
That's fair.
But here it kind of just like makes you do it, and it makes you have that stamina and work ethic that I'm gonna have to do in like the real world.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm gonna have to have work ethic.
Yeah, most definitely.
Kind of building off of what Jolie just said, work ethic. Sorry, work ethic and stuff. I feel like band does really prepare you for the real world in some ways, like throughout interviews and stuff.
Yep.
I've noticed I've interviewed for leadership every year I've been here, mostly just because I wanted the experience for when I genuinely wanted to be a leader.
Sure.
And I've told my section this too, that they should be auditioning every single year. And I try to tell as many people as I can that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that when I'm going for job interviews and stuff, I am a little bit more prepared. I kind of know how the interview setting is. I know how to act. Yeah. And I feel like some of my peers don't
lack that skill set. Sure. Yeah. Lack that skill set. Yeah, for sure. I think that's all I had for you guys. Any last thoughts that you want to share, or otherwise I don't want to get you in trouble with your director, who's probably waiting for you to do leadership tasks right now.
If you're on the fence of doing band, you should do it, and parents, let your kid do it.
Do it. Awesome.
Also, you should, like what Bailey said, just audition or try out for whatever position, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
That's right.
You should just do it, because you'll never know. Maybe
I think that's a Wayne Gretzky quote, maybe.
I wouldn't know. I think
it might be Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
You should just do it.
Okay.
YOLO.
Right. What about, hey, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What about parents being involved in band? Is that a good idea? Because you kind of have some experience with maybe a parent hanging around quite a bit. What do you think? Should parents get involved? What do you think?
You should be involved, and you should know what your kid is doing.
All right, fair enough.
Yes.
And band allows that too, right?
Yes, it does.
It definitely welcomes parents helping, and there's lots of opportunity to help, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's it. I promise that everything you just heard was their original answers. Nothing was prompted or scripted by myself. I say that to reiterate how awesome these band kids are. The words they use, the perspectives they have, the lessons they can reflect on, the insight and maturity is already there. They are very open and honest that they owe those traits to their experience in this activity, and none of them would change a thing. They are amazing people with a lot to look forward to. I appreciate that they took the time with me. For our focus on students, let's head back into an instructional session. This one with Guard, aka Color Guard. The caption head for Guard is McKinley, and like many of the other instructors, she is a student of the craft herself and is still active in the activity. Even further, she's a former student of this Guard program and is an alumni of Basha High School. She is now a part of the staff and giving back to the current generation of Basha students and sharing her passion. Guard is not an easy position to fill within the marching band. It is the most athletically challenging and has the responsibility to carry the weight of the visual presentation on the field. It is much more vulnerable than marching with an instrument. Students who march with instruments are often layered and close together, and a good drill writer can create formations that help hide flaws. Guard is much more exposed. They often have uniforms that make them stand out, and they are often spread out and placed more independently of each other. They use props such as flags, rifles, and sabers that draw your eyes to them while doing difficult toss maneuvers that they have to catch with the pressure of that attention. Guard is brave. That said, Guard is more free, incredibly artistic, influenced heavily by dance, and adds a wonderful visual aesthetic and artistry to marching band shows. Let's listen in on a Guard learning some routine.
We're in a nice, good second position. Our arms are squeezing. Our shoulders are rolled back. Are we ready?
Yes.
Here we go. 5 in a row. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and
3, 5, 7. 3, 5, 7.
nice. Can we shake it out? And then we're going to do a single and a half. We are going to catch it straight up and down like we do in the choreography. What changes about a single and a half? Just the height. Does your push change? No. Nice steep angle. Here we go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, and nice. If you're catching before 3 and, you are
Wrong.
Well, no, but what's going on with your toss and the reason why? It's too fast, you released early. If you're catching after 3 and, what's going on? You're slow. High.
Like many of the other sectionals, repetition is key. You run the rep until you get it right. Everyone must match each other's movement and each count is precise. If someone is not on the same count, it is very visually evident.
What count are you holding? 1. Here we go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2. What count are you holding? 1. Let's do it.
Pop quiz, what count are you holding? 1.
Ready? 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2. What count are you holding? 1. Let's do it again. Here we go. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Now what count is that cross toss out? 7. Let's try again. What count are you holding? 1. What count is the cross toss? 7. Let's do it. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. Much better on the cross toss. What count are we holding? 1. What count is the cross toss? 7. Let's do it. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. What count are we holding? 1. What count is the cross toss? 7. Can we all say 1 and 7? Yes. Let's do it. When we count together, we spin together. So everyone should be counting. Here we go.
Being on the same count is really just the start for guard. From there, in addition to ensuring everyone is completing the same movement on the same count, the movements themselves have to be visually as identical as possible. That means things like the angle of their flagpole, the position of their hands on a catch, the extension of their arm or legs are all further finite details that have to be worked on in addition to just moving at the same time. They must create a look where they all execute their moves in the same way.
So 5 in the front row, 4 in the middle row, 5 in the back. Find your windows and doors. You should be behind somebody. Marla, can you take a step back? Yes. Charlotte, can you take a step back? From here, we start where? Flat. Flat. Our right hand is over, under? Under. Our left hand is over. We go up. 1. Hold 2. Out. 3, 4, around. 5, 6, 7. This is a sharp 7. Hold 8. Yeah? Yeah. Again. We go up. 1, 2, out. 3, 4, around. 5, 6, hit 7, 8. Yeah? Make sure that this is a nice steep angle right here. A lot of us are pulling it down and we're like here. So make sure it's staying up. We go 9, 10, 11, 12. Around 3rd, 4th, 5th, up 6th. And this is a nice 5th hold 6th. Yeah? Can we try that 16?
As they wrap up their session, McKinley takes a moment to reassure the group, especially newer members, that it is okay to still be struggling and learning. Being a student herself, she can share their experience in a very relatable way and reassure them.
Very nice.
She lets them know that the goal is to see them succeed. So don't be overwhelmed. There is time to learn. And in the end, if adjustments need to be made for the benefit of the group, then those adjustments can be made. But for now, take the time and focus on learning.
All right. I just want to say thank you, especially to all my newbies for hanging in there. You guys have one of the hardest jobs in color guard because everybody else in band already comes in knowing their instruments, right? They already know how to play all the notes. And you guys come in not knowing anything. And so we're teaching double time of teaching basics and then choreography on top of that. So it's a lot to learn and it's a lot to process in a very short amount of time, yeah? So, yay, newbies. You guys have time to work on this. It's not until next Saturday that we're performing. So we have an entire week. On Saturday, this Saturday, we will be looking at it, and if something's not working, we'll change it so it's easier. Yeah? Yeah. Cool. So don't think that oh, you have to have it today. You have time to work on it, right? Sweet. Any questions?
I also had the chance to catch up with McKinley and chat with her about her role and background.
McKinley Breedlove, caption head for guard.
McKinley, so tell me kind of your journey, how you ended up being an instructor for color guard at a high school.
Yeah, so I started in junior high with their winter guard program and then moved to high school and then continued into college.
and then got the opportunity to teach my freshman year at an elementary school and kind of worked up from junior high to now high school.
Now, is that common? Because I feel like I don't hear a lot about guard programs at junior highs. Is that a common thing? Or?
It's not as common, but it's starting to be more common as like people are trying to recruit more.
And you are actually a Basha alumni, are you not?
I am. I graduated with the class of 22.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about like what's the experience like teaching now at your alma mater?
It's definitely weird being back in like a staff position versus a student, but it's nice to have a familiar place.
Do you feel like you're in a place of authority now, even though you're back to West Rica?
Yes.
All right, very good. Is there anything that you might share with those that are not familiar with guard? You talked about like recruiting and whatnot. Is there anything that you would share? Like who's a good fit for color guard? Who's somebody who should maybe look at doing this?
Anybody can really do it. I started off as a flute player and quit my 7th grade year and decided that I was going to do guard instead because I love the dancey aspect of it.
And do you have any advice for anybody coming into kind of this activity new? Just things that they should know? Any takeaways?
Yeah, you should come in with like an open mind. It's a lot harder than like an instrument coming into high school because you've already had like 3 or 4 years of playing an instrument, and so it's just learning new warm-ups and learning new music and stuff, whereas guard is a completely new thing that you're starting all over. So.
Fair point. Okay. All right. Thank you, McKinley. Appreciate it. Thank you to McKinley and Guard for letting me spend some time with them. You can tell how much she cares about that group, and it creates a great atmosphere for them to be a part of. Next, we want to tell the story of a very special student who is significant to this program and is celebrated during the band's camp each year. On Friday, the 5th day of band camp, the day is deemed Jaxon Landfair Day. Jaxon was a student of Basha High School and a member of the Basha Bear Regiment each year he was in school. He loved band, and in addition to marching band, he played in symphonic concert band as well. He also had a color guard connection that inspired his marching band journey. He was a normal high school kid, loved Xbox, and worked part-time at the local pizza place. But in November of 2018, things changed in the blink of an eye for Jaxon and his family when he was diagnosed with leukemia. Jaxon and his family are truly incredible people. Despite the tragedy at its core, this story is one of positivity, inspiration, giving back, and finding the light even in the darkest moments. We asked Jaxon's parents, Jay and Jessica Landfair, to join us to help tell the story that only they can do justice to. Okay, so the way this came about is I spent the entire week with Basha in their band camp. And then I think it's day 5 or day 6 every year, when they do the Bear Mile, they also have Jaxon Landfair Day. I don't think it's fair for myself to tell the story. I don't think it's fair to Miles to tell the story. So that's why we invited you guys to have a conversation with us. And again, I'm very thankful that you agreed.
Introduce us to your son.
Wow, where do we start? First of all, thanks for inviting us here. I don't think we've ever passed up an opportunity to talk about Jaxon and Jaxon's story. Band was especially a huge part of Jaxon's life, and at that time it was a big part of our life also.
So you were Band-Aid, you're one of us.
Yes. I didn't engage on the level that I would have liked to have because I was traveling a lot.
Yeah,
so
understood.
The time commitment I know for you guys is huge. We have some very good friends that are band parents on the other side of the city, and once band camp starts for the year, they pretty much are off the calendar,
through November, right? And then it's the holidays. So yeah, we'll see you January 1st. Yeah.
Right. So we pretty much know where they're going to be on Friday nights and such.
Yes.
So, but I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about you guys and band parents in general just the other day, and I was like, it's such a huge opportunity for parents to get involved in what's going on in their kids' lives, because a lot of sports and everything like that, you're just a spectator, but you guys get to be involved on a daily basis.
Yep.
So
no, it's true.
That builds relationships, and I think it's something your kids will never forget. So
hopefully in a good way.
Right.
Hopefully we're appreciative. They're at that age now where maybe they don't fully appreciate us, right? What do you think? Are you fully appreciative?
Did Jaxon talk to you in the hallways at band events? Because my kid won't say a word to me. He looks at me like I'm a complete stranger. He literally goes right by me, not even side eye. He will not acknowledge the fact that I exist. Did Jaxon acknowledge that you existed?
Not really during band. It was like he was a soldier. He was in there and he was very committed and serious. And
what was his instrument?
He played in marching band. He did the baritone, but he played trombone, but they don't march with trombones. So in marching band, he played baritone.
Trombones.
And
you're very Scott's very fond of trombone
Do
players.
not listen to the podcast. I may or may not say some disparaging thing against trombone players. Or I may have. So he joined band when?
He did like color guard or whatever in junior high. Or winter guard. That's what it was called.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's what kind of sparked his interest. And so then he did Pitt his freshman year. And he enjoyed, you could tell, being part of the band, but he did not enjoy Pitt.
Oh, no.
So, but that's really interesting because most people use band as a gateway to come to guard versus
the other way
your
around.
son used guard as a gateway to go to drumline, then to trombone. Is it fair to say he just went down the ladder for his entire band experience? See, I got a trombone slide in there.
I knew you'd find a way.
Yeah, it was just his 8th grade year. And I really feel like, same with band, it was just that he was a part of something that was big and a group. And
he had a home. Yeah, that's
yes.
So he was percussion his freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and did he do marching band his freshman year?
Yes.
And so, at what point did he come home and say, "Mom, Dad, I want to play trombone"? And what were you thinking?
He's already been playing trombone through junior high. So he played the instrument, but I don't know why he chose Pitt that first year.
Right.
But
what did he do in the pit? What did he play?
He got shifted around a lot.
Okay. He was dynamic.
Talented.
Okay.
Multi-talented is the phrase we use.
There's a funny story that we laugh as a family now, but he was supposed to be, what was he playing?
The triangle, I believe.
So I don't know, but he got reprimanded, and I don't think it was Denny at the time. It was the instructor before, but he came over and he just grabbed it out of his hand and gave it to someone else. So he came home and he's like, I got the triangle taken away.
Oh, he got revoked.
So he got, just so I can make this clear for Chris, he got demoted from triangle to trombone.
Don't even start. See?
I feel like it was something different than triangle, but it was something like that. Simple.
Yes.
I think
Chris's daughter is a phenomenal trombone player. So I love to stick that knife in and turn it when I catch it.
Yeah, no.
I'm guessing percussion-related instruments were not his thing. He did have an older brother that was in marching band at Basha High School and also played the trombone and baritone.
Okay.
Is that an influence for him? I'm seeing his older brother.
I think I would say.
Yeah, I think so.
And seeing the band come together as one big unit and all of that, camaraderie and everything that happens within the band. I think Jaxon was able to see that and just appreciate being part of something that's much bigger than just himself and being in that group.
Aside from family, which it's just a different kind of family, it's the friends that you can open up to and things like that. So having those, and I think it's great. I think it's amazing for kids to have those relationships.
One of you from inside the cult of band? Did either of you play an instrument?
No.
In junior high, but no.
So walking into this, you had an older son, so you had some experience from your older son. How many children do you have?
6.
Of course you do. 6. I can't keep my 2 idiots in line. And you've got 6.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
I'm a big blended family too, so we talk about that a lot. So we have 5 between myself and my wife. We have 5 between the two of us. So I can certainly relate to. Yeah, tell us about the family structure. Like what does that look like?
So we got married, blended family, same thing. He had 3 biological kids. I had 2, and then we have 1 together.
Okay.
But we had custody and raised them all in our house.
So where was Jaxon in the lineage of the 6?
He's number 5.
So he was kind of almost the baby of the family.
Yep.
And how many of his older brothers and sisters came through the band program?
Just 1.
Just his older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And was he next in line to the brother, or was there children in between?
There were 3 in between.
Okay.
So 2. I'm sorry, the girls, yeah.
Okay.
And they both played in orchestra.
In junior high.
They dabbled.
The requirements.
Okay, I was going to say, so it was more of they felt like they needed to do it for like an art credit or something, right?
But not in high school.
I'm just going to kind of cut right to the chase and ask you about how did you find out that Jaxon was ill?
It was actually at a band competition. They were there, and he had a hard time loading back into the truck. He just had no energy, and he had a headache. I think you had to go get him.
I did have to go pick him up. He was lightheaded and kind of fainty and all of that kind of stuff. So I got a call from one of the band parents and said, Jaxon's not feeling well or whatever. So I came and picked him up at Hamilton is where they were having that competition.
Gotcha.
So we thought it was just a really bad headache or something like that.
Yeah, a rough day to competition. They're out in the sun. They're marching. Probably
Right.
didn't eat real well.
Dehydrated.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
those things.
Yeah.
So, and it was on like a Saturday or Sunday. So Monday we're at the doctor's office and they check everything, and they're just, I mean, not literally everything, but they do what they would do, and said, well, how about he goes home and spends time in a dark room and just rests and that kind of thing, thinking maybe they were treating like a migraine type of a thing, even though he wasn't seeing the same symptoms as a migraine. And then the doctor said if he's not feeling better by Wednesday, we better, call him or something like that. Wednesday, he wasn't feeling well. And at that point, I was out of town. Jessica took him, I guess, called him, and he said, well, the quickest way to get blood work done is to go to the emergency room. Mm-hmm. So they did that.
And at that point, did you have any inkling that something bigger was at play?
No, they had thought maybe he had meningitis, but they took that test, and when we called on Wednesday, they said that was negative also. So no, we didn't know nearly. Not at all. That wouldn't have even been in my mind, anything serious, I guess.
So you went to the hospital.
Yeah, we went to Mercy Gilbert, and they took a blood test and came back immediately. And for a healthy blood person, your white blood count should be around 24,000, and Jackson's was over 500,000. So it was very urgent.
Wow.
They took a bunch of more tests, and I went outside because I didn't have service in the hospital and called Jay, and he headed home. He was at the Grand Canyon.
They basically said, which hospital do you want us to take him to, like, right now?
Gotcha.
So Jackson and I were ambulanced to Phoenix Children's, and right when we got there, they started, it's called leukapheresis. They put your blood into a machine, circle it around, it pulls all the white blood cells out and puts it back in. They did that for several hours because his blood count was so high, his white blood count, that they were worried about him having a stroke because your blood gets thick at that point. So that was the immediate urgency. But by the time they finished all their tests and everything and got us to Phoenix Children's, Jay was there within 10 minutes. It worked out timing. So we just it was a whirlwind, you just listen to what's going on and of course praying and all of those things.
Sure.
And at this point, I didn't even have a name for it. I just heard he had some kind of a blood disease or a blood disorder. And then, later that night, we hear the word leukemia.
Hindsight, we may have heard it and just not accept. You know what I mean? 100%. I don't know because I don't remember hearing it either. But so then the next morning they put a port in his chest, which is where they would start chemotherapy. And the next day they started chemotherapy. And
so it was, obviously it was incredibly advanced. Even though you had just learned about it, it was significantly down its path towards doing the damage that it was going to do.
Yeah. We look at pictures, we were at Lake Powell maybe 3 weeks before that, had our annual family trip at Lake Powell. And I look at those pictures and I'm like, he had cancer in his body then. Crazy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's kind of a little surreal, I guess.
Yeah, 100%.
At what point did the shock wear off and kind of the reality of the situation set in? Did it ever?
For me, I don't think it ever did. I think they gave us a calendar. They're like, this is what it is. They said leukemia is no longer a death sentence. It's kind of common for, younger kids to get it. And this is what we're going to do. So we did it. We just followed everything they said. And
yeah. It's like a band parent. You just do
what you're told. Yeah.
Here's the calendar. Here's what you're going to do.
Show up.
And you just nod your head and say, okay.
Yeah, you're never really clear why or where we're going with it. You just follow along.
There's no logic to it at all.
No, that's a good point. I guess that was going to be part of my question, but and maybe you just kind of answered it, but when you got that news, I guess your reaction versus everything I read about Jackson was very much, even through this whole process, was very much like, oh man, all right, now what? How do I move forward now? What do I have to do? How do you feel like he processed it? As much as it's tough for a parent, right? Imagine a 17-year-old kid.
I think we kept a very positive outlook throughout the whole thing. Maybe not even necessarily intentionally. It's just kind of how we are.
Sure. Sure.
We're just like, everything is very positive and upbeat. And I think when Jackson got the word they were still about to do the ambulance ride, and his only comment was, "Oh, geez." So it wasn't like, he wasn't devastated or anything. It was just like, okay, well, let's just get through this. And I think that was his stance the whole time was, I want to get to the other side and get past all of this and get on with life. That was his whole thing. And he was never hard to be around. He was never like
a typical teenager.
Yeah, he wasn't
hard to be around.
Right.
Yeah, Chris.
He was never openly sad or emotional or anything like that. He was just like really just rolling with everything, and he was upbeat and.
That's incredible. I mean, I know. I read about. I think to your point, there were in moments where you guys would catch things here and there. Maybe when he was coming from a treatment or something, like where you would see these moments, but immediately he would snap out of it, right? And he would just be back to himself. So, man, the bravery that he showed you guys through that process, I think, is phenomenal. And I'm going to guess it probably made it easier for you all as well to go through that with him. I mean. Not that it makes it any easier, but to see him be kind of that strong and approach it that way, I would imagine maybe made it more helpful for you. I don't know.
I think that's the case. It's kind of interesting whenever you have a kid that's going through that stuff, how meaningful your time with them becomes. Yeah. All of a sudden you're conscious of what you're doing with your time, not even knowing the outcome. We were just very, I think, intentional with the time that we had. With no idea how the outcome was going to be. We were extremely optimistic, but definitely intentional, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, you've started the treatment process. At what point did you break the cocoon of silence of okay, the only people who know are us? What happened? How did you make that decision? When did you do it? And how did the school, the music, the band community respond?
The competition that they were at when Jay had to go pick him up, it was like the semifinals because the next week they played in state championships at ASU. And I remember that whole week we were in the hospital and he kept asking the doctors, can I be at my band competition?
Wow.
And they were like, no, you're not going to be playing in your band competition. And so then it switched
What did he say when he's in the hospital hooked up to massive machinery and says, Doc, I've got to go. I've got something important to do. How did that play out?
Yeah, I think that they were floored. He really obviously was very into it. And he asked several times, like he didn't let it go. So they ultimately did allow him. We went to the band competition. He was not able to play, obviously.
Band director 1. Dr. 0.
So they took us through like an entrance where no people were and let us sit up because he was very immune compromised, obviously. So yeah, we watched the state competition.
That's incredible. Oh man.
Up on top. And that was one of the highlights,
Yeah. No, that's
because he was super excited.
That had to have been just hard for him.
Mm-hmm, I'm sure.
Processing, I'm sick and all of that. And I'm missing one of my favorite things on the planet. It's like, I can't have ice cream and I'm not feeling good.
And he couldn't communicate with his teammate. You know what I mean? With all of them. He wasn't allowed to go down with them and talk or anything because he had to stay away from people.
There were parents that knew what was going on, band parents, and, we parked in the same parking lot and everything like that. And as you're walking through, you hear those comments and those messages about, we're all family and, once a bear, always a bear and all of those types of things.
Right.
So, and they were just talking about a kid that was missing the state competition. They didn't know what the outcome would be, but they were very supportive. And that's just another, the kids have great camaraderie in band, but the parents are also a family.
Oh, yeah. There's no question. Yeah. I think that one of the most important things for me in band is knowing that my kid's going to ignore me, but there's 40 other sets of eyes on that kid.
Yeah.
Doing the right thing, showing up the right time, making sure he eats. I mean, all the little things that are trivial compared to what you're dealing with, but it's still 40 sets of loving eyes that care about your kid.
Absolutely.
Well, and we truly serve the kids, right? We kind of make that joke all the time. So, Scott's a legacy band person, but the way he found his place within the Bash of Band Boosters was feed the bears and scooping mashed potatoes initially, right?
And at band camp, what was I doing?
He was cleaning tables.
And feeding the bears.
I fed the bears several times.
That's my favorite thing to do. I get to be around the kids.
It's even fun to say.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So when the Make-A-Wish they approached him in December. Talk to us about when it became more concrete? You said you implied that they came a second time. You said the first visit wasn't
probably three.
Maybe three.
Okay. At least 3 or 4.
So
probably.
tell us about the conversation when Jaxon shared what he had decided.
Well, in the initial conversation, he was just like, he's like, I want to pick something that will last. I mean, that was pretty much all he said, something that's meaningful, something that will last. So I think he'd already processed in his head that all of those things are like good for a moment or good for like, you know, a lot of stuff that you get ends up in a garage sale someday.
Gotcha.
Or something like that. So he just wasn't enticed by any of those types of things. He just kept thinking, I just want something that will last. So I think his wish granters came and met with him like probably at least 3
And we're
times.
not in the room when they meet. It's just them.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
Right. So they'll come in and talk to him and they'll come back out and say...
Because they don't want influence.
I was going to say, is that why? Yeah, just because they want it to be genuinely his. Okay.
Right. So I think we're, I don't know, maybe in August or early September, I think, is whenever he finally, you know, they came and visited him again and he told them what he wanted. And then they came out of the room and they were just kind of in shock. They were kind of floored.
And they told us.
Right. And then they told us what it was. And they were like, man, most kids, there's just like this very, very, very tiny, small percentage of kids in the entire Make-A-Wish organization that have ever asked to give something instead of to receive something. So they were floored by that. So they came out and they said that Jaxon wants to create a scholarship for one of his Basha High School friends, students, you know, not anybody that he knew, but he just said, I want to create a scholarship for someone from my school to go into law enforcement, which I think I was a little bit shocked at that, you know, just because that was kind of out of my mindset at the time. I knew previously that he was interested in law enforcement, but I was just kind of surprised that that's what he decided to make his wish. So Make-A-Wish got really, really engaged at that point and started making things happen. And they found a donor, somebody to donate enough money for that scholarship, which I think was almost $7,000, $6,900 or something like that.
Wow.
So that was the amount that was available for the first scholarship. And it was called, it was called the Jaxon Landfair Humanitarian Scholarship for a lot of reasons, but it was a very humanitarian thing to do. And then the search went on for who that recipient was going to be.
So very timely. One of the main kind of principles or takeaways, I think, when people read about Jaxon's story is the 3 things. And we're kind of, I guess, at that point where the 3 things come about. So I don't know if you want to share, from what I read, where this came from originally, the post. Was it written by you, Jay? Was it in your voice, the blog?
Was me.
Okay. So I don't know if you mind just kind of sharing it then in your voice, how this 3 things came about, or what Jaxon's 3 things are.
I guess several times Jaxon was he was in and out of the hospital quite a bit, but he did spend a significant amount of time in the hospital. So at some point during his treatment, I took family photos, just any kind of photos that had to do with Jaxon's life or Jaxon's family, things he liked to do, all of that kind of stuff. And I put them on a Fire Stick at the time and stuck it in the TV. Most of the time, this slideshow was scrolling through. And I did that for 2 reasons. And one was so that the medical staff would not just look at the chart and see, a number.
It's really insightful.
I have the number memorized. I don't have it anymore, but I wanted them to see that he had a life to get back to. And then I wanted Jaxon to see also that he had a life to get back to, and it was all positive and uplifting images and stuff like that. So.
So no Bandcamp photos.
Yeah,
There were
actually.
Because those are positive or uplifting.
I think one of the photos was at Bandcamp. The fire truck came by and was hosing everybody down or something like that.
Yep.
That's how they honor him every year. It's called the Bear Mile.
We call it the Bear Mile now. Yeah. So it's a here. I don't want to derail too much. I'll tell you about the Bear Mile afterwards. So here, you can finish telling your story. I'll tell you about
So anyway, that was doing that, and it had been, I don't know. It wasn't just that day. It had been going on for some time. And so he had been intubated and he was unintubated. So now we can actually talk. So I was sitting on the edge of his bed and Jessica was sitting nearby and maybe just on the other side of the bed. And I just said, hey, Jaxon, you know why I have these pictures, on the TV? And he said, no, but it makes me want to have another chance. So I was like, wow. And I was like, what do you mean like another chance? He's like, like another chance at life. I want to get better and get out of here and go, do things differently. And I said, well, what would you do different? And he said, as if he had had a whole bunch of time to think about it, this just rolled out of his, mouth. He just said, I would care less about what other people think, like how they feel about me. And I would care more about how I make other people feel. And he said I would live life to its fullest. And then Jessica and I just kind of looked at each other, and I just said, that's very, that's the way we should all be living our lives, I think, every day. And all of that ended up written down, because I was keeping kind of a blog of what, Jackson's journey was. And then, of course, they ended up on the back of these cards, Jackson's 3 things. I didn't know how impactful they were going to be at that time, but I was, I guess, very set back that they came out of the mouth of a 17-year-old kid who
absolutely
just found his voice all of a sudden. After Jackson was presented with his wish, we were sitting on the bed with him that night, and I just said, hey, Jackson, the family has talked and we want to continue this wish like every year. And at that point it was one scholarship per year kind of a thing. And I just said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we'll raise money and just continue doing this wish every year, which he thought was a good idea too. And then, of course, after he passed, we still had that goal, that we had committed to. So I think instead of mourning, it was very therapeutic, at least for me, maybe for Jessica also, but we just went full into continuing that wish and continuing Jackson's legacy, and doing things like this is amazing for us to, I guess, process all of it. Yeah. I mean, it's been some years since then, but it's not really any less, I guess, emotional necessarily. We've gotten pretty good at talking about it. So that's kind of where we dumped all of our energy, was into building this foundation and doing these scholarships, and I guess just keeping Jackson's legacy and his story alive as long as possible.
So circling back to what Chris was talking about, did you know that about the bear? I mean, explain, Chris, because you were at the camp.
The Bear Mile is a tradition that's handed down year after year after year, and really at this point, it's only the new members that aren't in on it. Because it is a protected legacy, I won't completely spoil how it ends. However, I will say...
Do you think freshmen in high school are listening to our podcast, Chris?
In case they are...
Do you really believe
Scott, I honor our program and its traditions, and I don't want to be the one. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Delusion.
You can do it. But anyway, what happens at the end of that, what happens after that again, and this is all on Jaxon Landfair Day as well, is the fire truck comes. So the same day that the fire truck comes, that the kids get to run around and celebrate the kind of the end of the hard work that they've done all week is on the same day that they celebrate and recognize Jackson as well. So it's all kind of done at the same time. So Gilbert,
for parents who don't know, the fire truck just doesn't come. They put the hook and ladder up.
Yes.
And they treat the kids like they're a 4-alarm fire. And it's 115 degrees out. And I will tell you, the first year I went, that field was flooded. I mean, they spared no water droplets. I mean, they doused those kids for 25 minutes.
Yes.
And it's a hot mess. It's a muddy bog, and they're sweaty kids. And it's a great way to end the camp.
It really is kind of this culmination of band camp. It's seen as this culmination. So all these things are celebrated at the same time. And again, like I said, because we have this crossover, that's why I thought it was really important that we bring you guys in to get to talk about it.
Because the kids wear orange that day in honor of Jackson.
Yes.
And Miles tells the story. So the first responders, to Jackson's lifelong wish, along with band camp, along with a celebration that he's remembered and celebrated every year as a part of the Bear Regiment.
Yeah. So we wanted his story to be told. So not a spoiler per se, but a good segue into, so now talk about the Jaxon Foundation. Tell us what work is being done today, and
how do 17 people find you?
Yeah, absolutely.
How if someone wants to get in touch with you, they want to learn more about Jackson and his story and his foundation, how would they do that?
So after his passing and after our commitment to do this scholarship, Jessica and I were having dinner with some friends, and they had this bright idea, like, hey, we should start a foundation. So we did that, and that was in November of 2019. Mm-hmm. And then by January of 2020, we had our 501c3 established, we had a website established, and we were rolling pretty strong. So it's jacksonfoundation.com. So it's a webpage, and it shows basically why we do what we do. There's great stories on there about Jaxon. There's scholarship recipients on there, stories about them. We've actually awarded 5 scholarships from students for students at Basha High School.
Amazing.
And 17 scholarships
17
total.
overall is what I read, yeah.
So other than that, every year I've just been completely grateful for Basha High School and for them, assisting us in keeping Jackson's story and Jackson's legacy alive.
Yes.
Most years we were able to come and talk on Link Day, talk to all the incoming freshmen specifically about Jackson's 3 things. As far as I know, there's still a mural in the lunchroom.
There is.
No, of course. Yeah.
There absolutely is, yes.
Back to the fire truck scene. I'm pretty sure Jaxon had a story about that.
Yeah, I'll do it real quick.
Please.
So one of the photos that we had in his slideshow and everything, and it was him at band camp, and everyone was like in the middle and they were getting sprayed, and he was kind of out to the side and he had his hands on his pants. And so I remember asking him, and I was like, Jaxon, why do you have your hand on your pants? And he had his older brother's hand-me-downs, and he's like, the elastic, his older brother's much larger than he was. Gosh. And he said his pants had fallen all the way down.
From being wet.
From getting wet. Right. So anyway,
That's
it was
hilarious.
Kind of a funny story why we were in the hospital.
Right.
Jaxon was a phenomenal person as a result of the experience he had and the parents that he had, because you guys are exceptional people. And thank you for sharing this story and everything with us. Again, the point for me was I got a little emotional during the interview as well. So I know how much it means to me just as a bystander. So I really appreciate you guys being here directly to tell the story, because I think people need to hear about it. I think they need to understand who Jaxon was and why this is important. So,
absolutely. And thank you for having us.
Most definitely.
The pleasure was definitely ours.
That segment represents just a portion of the time that we spent with Jay and Jessica. There's so much more that they shared with us about Jaxon, their family, themselves, the foundation, and the impact Jaxon and his wish still have today. We felt it was only right to release the full conversation as a standalone episode itself. This story is too important to not let it stand on its own. Keep an eye out for this episode fully dedicated to Jaxon and his family to be released in the next several days. We are so humbled and thankful they took the time to speak with us. I know how much it has an impact on Scott and myself. I hope you all feel the same. We're going to go ahead and take a pause there and conclude Inside Band Camp Part 2. We're not done though. There is one more stretch of camp to complete. Are you up for it? You better be, because it's available right now. See you all in Part 3. Thank you for listening.
I'm Scott Lang.
Chris Flynn.
Jay Landfair.
And Jessica Landfair.
And we're the
Band Dads.
And Mom.
To stay up to date with the Band Dads podcast, visit our website, banddadspodcast.com. Want to communicate with the Band Dads? Send an email to feedback@banddadspodcast.com. The Band Dads podcast is a 5 Deuce Media production. For more information, visit 5deucemedia.com. That's numeral 5deucemedia.com. For more information on Scott Lang leadership and solutions for music education, visit scottlang.net.